As Conservation Manager at the Wilderness Center, one of my responsibilities is to oversee controlled burns at the prairie areas. So your first question might be, why are we burning the prairies to start with? And actually, prairies have evolved over time to go through this process. There's been some really good research, peer-reviewed research in fact, that shows that prairies that have been burned have a significantly greater abundance of both native perennials as well as clovers. Both of these groups will provide excellent nectarine resources for both bees and butterflies. To have a prairie that you don't burn, what will happen, and you may be able to see this beyond my shoulder, are lots of dead stems. Those are both from smaller trees as well as raspberries and blackberries. The fire will actually set these back and actually kill these. And it's not that we don't love trees, it's just that we don't need trees in the prairies. Over a period of time, the prairie will be completely covered with trees and shaded out. So it's definitely very helpful in removing woodies. It's also very important when we're trying to discourage the growth of cool season grasses or sod producing grasses like you'd find in your own front yard. These grasses are highly compacted and don't allow really a whole lot of sunlight to reach the soil surface where we would really like to see it happening. So we get a annual bloom of both flowers and warm season grasses. One of the most important things that you take into consideration when you're doing a burn like this is that you don't burn everything at once. So what we do is we do a burn and then we'll do a follow-up burn in maybe 4 or 5 years, but we don't burn the entire prairie. This allows species that will be using the prairie, be they small mammals like mice and rabbits, or bird species that are looking to nest, an opportunity to nest elsewhere within the area that still supports prairie. So when we do it on a rotational basis, we're really looking out for a number of the wildlife species that we find out here. You may see us out on a burn sometime where we're smiling a lot because it really is something we enjoy doing. However, we take a lot of precautions when we're doing this, and there's a lot of science that backs prescribed fire. First of all, we only burn about 6 weeks out of the year, from mid-March through the end of April. This would mimic the historic time when fires would take place. We write an actual prescription. We must fall within a specific range for humidity, wind direction, wind speed, and temperature. These are all factored in on whether we're going to burn on a specific day or not. We also have what's known as a fire break, and fire breaks encircle an area that we're burning in. This prevents it from possibly spotting over to an area that we do not want to burn. And it's very important, finally, that we let the wind work with us. Wind is actually very important. Some folks might think that a very calm day is the best time to burn, and it absolutely isn't, because you have no idea what the fire is going to do. When we've got a wind and we know its direction, we can actually use that to our advantage. Normally what we will do is we'll start a fire on the very furthest side that we're seeing wind, and then we let the fire burn back into the wind. How long does it take the prairie to recover after a burn? The prairie that's behind me, as we're talking about this, was burned 6 weeks ago. And within that 6-week period of time, you can see everything is greened up. The spiderwort is in full bloom. We have a number of warm season grasses coming up, as well as a number of wildflowers. So it doesn't take very long at all. If you're out here planting flowers on a lost one's grave, depending upon the flower species, we have folks who are concerned that the flowers will be destroyed or killed. As you're looking behind me, you can see that the prairie is in full bloom. This is 6 weeks after the burn. And it all depends upon the species of flower that you plant. But if you're planting a native species, a perennial native species that is found in prairie systems, no, you will not lose your flowers completely. They will resprout, as you can see directly behind me. As you can see behind me, our efforts have definitely paid off. Right now here in early August, the prairie is in full bloom with a number of different pollinator species as well as other wildlife. It's also turned out to be a really great place for folks to come in and just reflect.